just connecting us with Facebook so that other people who are not able to join us via Zoom would have the opportunity to participate tonight as well. It is a privilege to be a part of this, to organize this event. This is our third time running this. Welcome, Pastor OBA. Really appreciate you, man of God, for everything that you do, the empowerment that sessions that you give us is amazing. So Sister Dalapo is calling from Wolverhampton. Well done, thank you. And Veronica is from London. Thank you. Rosamond says, good evening. Yes, we can hear you. Okay, yes. I'm glad that you can hear me. For some reason, when I run these events, sometimes the network or even how the computers work kind of become a challenge. So I needed to find out if you could hear me. Yeah, Maureen is calling from Kent. That is awesome, awesome. So now I'm just going to share my screen and introduce this event and get the ball rolling. And then very shortly, Maureen will be starting to speak with us. So just bear with me while I go on, while I share the screen and indeed share the slides as well. So we are going to do a slideshow. Okay, so this is actually in the way now. No, play current, yeah. Okay, so this event again is the Business and Personal Growth Summit, and we as women, we come together to educate ourselves, to empower ourselves. Fortunately, there's a saying that, you know, success leaves clues. Some of us know certain things, some of us don't, and when we come together, there's power in unity, there's power in us being together. And that is the purpose of this summit. And I happen to be hosting it. It just says 5 days on the slide because the last time we did it was 5 days. So this time certainly is 3 days because we see that the 3 days is equally impactful as well as the 5 days. Now, I just want you to get committed with this. This is one of my trainers, actually, this is his best slide in terms of setting the scene for us to go on. He talks about sitter backers and those who take action, because we know that when you a sitter backer, that's a term he coined, you don't interact. And of course, I can see that this group is interactive, which is amazing. They sit in webinars and don't do anything, or doing other things in the background, or having loads of trainings waiting for them during the week. The point is that without, and also consume the information without implementing. In the essence, you want to be an action taker, which is that you know that to get results, you are going to be fully participating and then ready to write notes if possible, and interact with us when we ask questions, because at some point Maureen or I or Blessing might be asking questions, and indeed we'll need your participation to make the presentations flow, and also just to judge your understanding of how the information is coming across. Because what happens is that if a speaker is speaking and the audience are interacting, they can judge how the conversation flows. At the end of the day, it is the impact that we want to share in here. So please, I just want to say that in a nutshell, to pay attention to what we are doing here. Now, this training obviously is for people, is for us women, men included, parents, for that matter. But of course, it is for particular people. If you are interested in starting a business, or if you need clarity with your business, these are some of the things that we are going to be discussing within this program. If you are a business owner and you want to understand how to attract clients, because believe it or not, the main challenging thing for business, challenging situation for business owners is usually how to attract clients. So we'll be talking about that as well. And if you want to understand the step-by-step process in having financial freedom, here is the thing. At the end of the day, what we're doing here is for us to be able to be free financially, to be able to do what we love to do. And the other parent who should be here is if you want to help your child to be able to navigate, especially social media, and perhaps take the old digital world, do business in the digital world with under your supervision. And indeed, the ideas on healthy lifestyle is equally important. What's the point in having all the wealth in the world if you don't have health? And Lady Catherine will be sharing that with us in this program. And if you want to grow your career, because at the end of the day, it's not everybody who would be in business. Some of us would stay in career. But of course, even if you are in career, you need to empower yourself enough to be able to go for the promotion, go for the new job, go for the things that will make your job actually interesting and engaging, and so much more. Now, for people who are here, I certainly would not say that would not envisage that such a person will be here. But just in case, if you are here and you don't want to uplevel your life, obviously there's no point in being here, because here is the thing. Those of us here, our excitement is to be able to make a life different in various ways for us. If you're not interested in personal development or personal growth, or if you think your business is already rocking it, i.e., you are hitting the numbers that you want, or if you want to get rich or successful really quickly, obviously this is not a get rich quick scheme. Or each and every one of us who is going to be talking here have had to walk the walk. We have to put in the hours. We had to do what it takes to be able to acquire the information, to acquire the skills that we are now sharing. So indeed, we expect that for those that are listening to us as well. So what should you expect from this summit? Now, each day, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. in UK time is what is required, just 2 hours a day, to share, for us to come on with 2 or 3 speakers, maximum 3 speakers a day, to share skills and ideas with you that is pertaining to what you want to do with regards to your life or your business. And then to show up every day. I personally believe that when there is a program and I don't attend live, is kind of it often becomes challenging, because then even if there is a replay, if the replay is sent to you, life gets in the way. So being here, number one, you can ask questions, and also you have the community spirit, as we are here together today, and the other days that will be coming. Now, I just want to let you think for a minute about this situation. So, for example, in life, all we want is success for ourselves. Success is defined in different ways by different people. But of course, what we as parents should think about is that if you, as a woman, just imagine that your ability to make money, exactly how to get started in bringing in consistent income, for example, how good will that be for you and for your life moving forward? Picture the fact that if you are able to run your business and you are getting clients that you stressing, as mentioned earlier, the fact that the main challenge for business owners is getting clients. If you are able to build the right network and be able to kind of get clients to run your business, how nice will that be? Or as a career woman, if you are able to be able to make the progress that you desire, because we know that within work, if you are not in a fulfilling career, that can be draining. And they say what we only live once. You want to be in a situation where you are actually comfortable and enjoying your career. And envisage how great it will feel if you could become financially independent. It is often said that most of us, for example, Yes, people want money. They go to work for money and everything. But here's the thing: we don't really want money. We want what the money can give us. So if we are able to become financially independent, that means that you are able to be in a situation where you don't have to work to generate income. And in effect, that means that you are able to live your life according to how you like it. And that is what this training is all about, just getting us to that level, or getting us to be thinking about the process of getting to this that place. Now, some of you know me, or most of you know me, but for the sake of those who don't, I just want to quickly introduce myself so that I will hand the mic. They say invisible mic to our speaker, first speaker for tonight, Maureen Chana. My name is Beatrice Yakubu. I'm a mom of three and a wife. I'm a Christian and a business coach, and also a digital marketer. Now, here is how I started with this journey. I came to the UK some number of years ago as a nurse. And when I had the visa, it was the best day of my life because, as most of you know, in fact, shall we find out? Um, just for us to have this chat in terms of yes or no, when you had your visa, how did you feel? For those of us who came as what do they call it, who came on a visa? If you can type one, how exciting it was. One would be you were excited. Two would be, oh, I didn't. It really didn't bother me. That would be exciting. For me, it was exciting. Why? Because I knew that the information is always that our lives will be changed when we go abroad. So, but for working for many years, working long hours. So I went from working 5 hours a day to working like 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours a day. And that was really, really, really painful, to be honest. And most of us are still in the same situation. Not that I'm not working hard at this point, but the fact is that even when you are working, the money that you're getting should be enough to be able to make you comfortable. But in this country, most of you know that even when you do the work, you still, yeah, I can see that someone is saying that one, yes, she was excited, and of course, Veronica was excited when she first got her visa. Yes, similar to me. I mean, I couldn't sleep. It was like party time because I thought the money was going to be rolling in, but it didn't work that way. So I realized that no, I need to take a different strategy. I went back to school, learned, and came back. It was still the same. A friend said, "Okay, why don't you do agency because it's lucrative?" And indeed, I joined agency. It was actually good because then we could open limited liability company, but it didn't last because most of you know how UK government is. When they know there's a loophole somewhere, they quickly find change laws. So the laws were changed, and I went from earning my income really dropped from about 1/3, and I was confused. I didn't know what to do at this point, and that is when I found Caroline. I was just watching TV. Those days I used to watch this program a lot, The Secret Millionaire, and if you are, I mean, most of us are Black women or Black in this group, you know that even when you're watching TV sometimes and you see a Black person on the TV, it gives you that kind of satisfaction. I mean, if I don't know about other people, but for me, it does. Because you just see that this person looks like me. But to see that not only does she look like me, she has actually done what I think is impossible, and because I never thought this was possible in this country, and the guts to do that just made me feel wow. And I decided to think, okay, what if I can also just try? Not that perhaps even if I don't get to become a millionaire, but at least I'll become financially independent. And that's what took me out of my comfort zone onto business conferences. And indeed, I decided that social media, in fact, when I heard social media was a thing, it was like, wow. So I got the children involved because they were teenagers. And as Blessing would share her story, obviously they needed to join me. Fast forward, they started to grow, and they had to help me because I struggled a little bit. And from there on, we've gone to do many things, working for business owners, working together as a family. And these are the people that I have learned from. Um, John Pemberty, I learned from webinar presentation from him. This guy is Andy Harrington. I learned public speaking from him. Paul Omahani was my first mentor that taught me social media. Nettie Bryan, whom some of you know, is my coach. She's still my coach, actually. And Donnie and I helped me with helping the children, my children, to do well in terms of confidence and other things. So we have worked with clients. I'll just show you a few of them, and then I will hand over the mic to Maureen. So Pastor OBA is on this platform, and I think, yeah, and Veronica is on this platform as well. These are the ladies that I've worked with, and so many more that are not even this place cannot contain. And I've also been speaking all this while, and that has been the speaking, the platforms I have spoken on so far. So that's it about me. Thank you so much. Any question before I introduce Maureen? Any question? Okay, so we are all good to go with regards to Maureen. I mean, introducing our first speaker for the day, who happens to be Maureen Chana. So Maureen is a pioneering neuro leadership expert and the visionary CEO of the Mindset Academy, known for blending neuroscience and high performance coaching. Her award-winning approach integrates neuro coaching and corporate consulting, making her a distinguished speaker and a leader in her field. As the host of the Lead to Excel podcast, she delivers a valuable leadership insight. Her expertise is in cognitive enhancement techniques, boost brain function in leadership and entrepreneurship, enhancing decision-making, communication, and performance. Maureen's methods also focus on developing emotional intelligence, resilience, and innovative thinking to improve leadership and productivity. With a global impact from the UK to Africa and collaboration with leading organizations like the NHS UK, Johnson & Johnson, and the Siemens Healthineers, Maureen's engaging presentation combine humor with transformative insights. She excels in breaking mental barriers, reshaping beliefs, and tackling biases for lasting change. Her varied background includes roles in education, IT, hospitality, and medical research. She has a deep focus on brain role in personal and professional development. Outside her professional life, Maureen enjoys spa days, reading, travel, and spiritual practices, promoting a balanced lifestyle. She also helps people through her workshop, courses, speaking, engagement, and neurocoaching. Maureen simplifies the brain-mind-body connection and offers science-based strategies for growth. Of course, you can connect with her later, which I will share the information later, but this is the type of lady that you are going to be learning from tonight. So with the invisible mic, I pass over. Let me highlight Maureen first. Pastor Kiki, you're welcome. Pastor Maureen, Karil, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you. I'm now searching for and Chinedu. Hello, Chinedu. Well, you're welcome. I'm looking for Maureen at this point in the screen. Okay,
I'm
can't
here.
find her yet. Let's give me.
Can you see me?
Sorry?
Can you see me?
No. Let me just go to participants and I'll be able to find you. It says more. So it is showing on the bar. And Freedom for Better Life, that is Grace. You're welcome, Grace. How come I can find? Okay, I can see you now. Okay, now add pin. No, I'm going to replace you. Yay! You're welcome, Maureen.
Thank you, thank you. Can you give me access to share my screen?
Absolutely. Let
Thank
me
you.
make you co-host and then you can share. Give me a second to do that. Yeah. Ooh, you're looking radiant.
Thank you. So
When
are
I was
you.
reading about travel, I'm like, she just came back from somewhere special.
I do love traveling.
Yeah. Okay, so let me where are you again? So pin, no, okay.
So while
Sometimes
you're doing
these things, but still, it's still a challenge. Um, make her co-host, yes,
perfect.
and then I'll
Thank
pin
you.
you back again.
Yes, yes, I can. I
All
can
right,
see my screen.
it's all
Lovely.
yours now.
Thank you. So yes, it's a huge, huge pleasure to be here. And I can see Pastor Kika, I know. So it's great to see you here. I think I'm connected with Maureen on LinkedIn. So yeah, it's a huge pleasure to be here. And I'm going to just go into it because I know I don't have much time. And I do like talking about the brain. So I better just get going. So yes, I'm Maureen Chiana. I think I'll just share my screen to make it probably easier, and then we will get going. Okay, can see my screen? Yeah, thumbs up if you can. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, so this is me. I'm just going to whiz through this. So the topic that Beatrice gave me is rewire your brain, harnessing the power of your brain for business and personal mastery. Um, so yeah, we're going to do some brain rewiring today. So hopefully, these are the things I really want to. Oh, sorry, I went through that so fast. These are the things I really want us to get through. Um, but I've been introduced, so I'm just going to whiz through this as well. The key thing that I really wanted us to get to is the framework that I use. And I'm just going to whiz through the framework, is this Neuro React Leadership Framework. And so it's really based on the whole aspect of rewiring the brain for success, emotional intelligence. And then the last three really come from those first two, which is being able to be adaptable, being able to connect really well with people. And this is where you really learn to interact, to negotiate, to communicate with people, to be persuasive, because as a business owner, all these skills are really important. And then the final stage is the transformation. So this is me, and the Mindsight Academy is my main hub. So that is where most of what I do sits. So it's an academy established 2017, and before then, I've been in education, worked. I came into neuroscience, I think about 12, no, about 15 years ago was when I discovered neuroscience. And that was from a place of pain, actually, because I was going through a really tough time. I had closed my business. I opened the first Afro hair and beauty salon in Kent, and it was huge. It was wonderful. It was covered by BBC, covered by ITV. 4 years later, I had to make the decision to close it, and I felt like a failure. So it was going through all these emotions that I really started asking the question, why am I feeling the way I am? And how do I get myself out of how I was feeling? But also, I was so curious about why people behave the way they do. Because having come from running the salon, being in leadership, I just really wanted to understand people. So that was what led me to neuroscience and really understanding how the brain impacts on behavior, how it impacts on everything we do. So it's really been a fascinating journey. My main program is this one, which is the emotional intelligence for leadership training, which really starts with teaching you to be a self-leader first and then being able to lead others. When we say lead others, it's really being able to lead as in having a team, or really being able to communicate, how to really connect and form relationships that are productive with other people. Last year, I set up the Mindsight Women's Network, and this was purely an instruction from God, which is working with women using scripture, using science, using emotional intelligence. And it's just been fantastic because science, with all the new research coming out, it really, what science is doing is confirming scripture, and it's totally mind blowing and insightful. So, that is me. So I'd love to connect with you. The podcast, the website, and I've got a free ebook that you can download from the Mindsight Academy as well. So let's get started. Now I've got FedEx logo here, which many of you would have seen before. So, and I don't know if any of you have done this before, but it will be interesting to see. I'm going to put the chat here so I can see what's going on in the chat. Now, with the FedEx logo, if you can see the arrow in the logo, put yes in the chat. If you cannot see the arrow, put no in the chat. Let's do this really quickly. So if you can see an arrow, say yes. If you cannot see an arrow, put no. So I can see a few no's coming through, a few no's. Come on, let's see. Put those answers in. Yeah, I can see. So quite a few no's. So has anyone seen can anyone see an arrow? No, no, no. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. I've never had all no before, so this is a first. Okay, I'm going to carry on because of time. Now, I'm going to show you where the arrow is. So you've seen this FedEx logo so many times, but you never notice the arrow. Usually you get, okay, Blessing does say yes, but Blessing, that came late. So I don't know if you saw it after before. But the interesting thing here is that this FedEx logo is one that you've always seen, but never noticed the arrow. What tends to happen is that some people will say yes, some people will say no, but it just shows you how you can all be looking at the same thing, but see it differently. And it really reminds me of a quote, and I never remember who said this quote, but it says, "You see the world not as it is, but as you are." So based on your wiring, you tend to see that you're observing different things. And that's why you can be experience a similar situation with somebody else, but or be in the same situation, but experience it so differently. And this is so important, especially when really get into emotional intelligence, because it then shows you that, a lot of times what you hear people say is, I expect, you should have. And this really is where we need to step back and remember that we're all wired so differently. So the question that I want us to start with is, who are you? And it's a question that I really love asking, because when we ask the question, who are you? What does it really mean? How are you wired? What makes you you? Why do you do what you do? Why do you feel the way you do? Why do you respond the way you do? Why do you react the way you do to different things? Why do you go about things a particular way and not a different way? So this is what really makes you who you are. Jeff Hawkins says, you are your brain. If you want to understand why you feel the way you do, how you perceive the world, why you make mistakes, how you're able to be creative, indeed, what it is to be human, then you need to understand the brain. And I'm getting some echo coming. Can you guys hear an echo? No? It might just be to me. Okay. So this quote I love so much because it's really true. What really makes us who we are is what's going on in our brain. So in terms of even how we feel and everything we do is to do with what's going on in our brain. You know, the thoughts we have, emotions we have. So I want us to now jump and look at some science. So we've got the brain here, and the main part of the brain that I want us to really focus on are the two main parts. Oh, so you can hear an echo as well. Yeah. Can everyone mute, please? Just because I'm not sure where it's coming from. Can everyone? Oh, I think that's better. Oh, no, I can still hear it. Anyway, so that's the brain. And the two main parts I want us to focus on is the frontal part of the brain, and then right in here, which is down there, which is the emotional center of the brain. These are the two areas that I would say that's really important in terms of looking at behavior, looking at the way we perceive things and what we do. The echo is really irritating. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, so the frontal part of the brain is our thinking brain. So that's the part of the brain where we make decisions, where we're able to see, visualize into the future. Let me take this off. So it's a part of the brain where we're able to visualize and see into the future. While the emotional part of the brain is almost like the scanner. So that's the part of the brain that when information comes in, yeah, I can still hear this echo. When information comes into the brain, what it does is that it's scanning the brain to see if it has any information similar stored in memory. If it does, what the emotional brain does is that it then activates our stress response, which is the flight, flight, or freeze mechanism. And that is where you then start feeling, or in fact, the main thing is that the adrenal gland releases things like cortisol, and that's where you start, your heart palpitation, maybe sweaty palms, and and it's a case of you're either fleeing, you're fighting, or you freeze, or, so you really get paralyzed. So, and one of the key things to remember when this mechanism happens is that when that emotional part of the brain is activated, one of the first things it does is that it takes oxygen from the frontal part of the brain, the thinking brain. And that's why when under stress, you find that you don't think straight. You might find yourself maybe going for an interview or going to do a presentation where you're very nervous and you get there and go blank. You literally forget everything that you prepared to do. That's why. So, what we want to do as business owners, as individuals, so what we
Hello?
want to do, yeah, Beatrice, are you speaking
Hello?
to me?
No, just a second. Oh, hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could sort out the noise that you were talking about, but
Okay.
it's certainly causing more more interruptions. Sorry. Go on.
Okay, let me bring this down.
Yeah. Yeah, good to go, Maureen.
Okay, cool. Okay. So yeah, so what then happens? Someone said if I have another instrument open. No, I don't. I don't have anything open that I can see. Um, Give me 1 second. Let me just stop sharing for a second and see if I can close things down on my computer. So I really don't understand where it's coming from. But I don't have anything open on my screen. So I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, I'll
What about your
continue.
phone?
My phone is charging behind me and it's on
Okay.
mute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let
my phone
me.
is on mute, so I'm not sure. Anyway, if you can hear me, then I'll continue. Yeah, it's really weird. Anyway, so the emotional part of the brain, that so what it does is that it literally takes oxygen from the frontal brain, so that's why as a business owner what you want to do is to make sure that you stay calm under all circumstances, so that you're able to make the right decisions, you're able to solve problems. Because if you're in a heightened emotional threat state, you find that you can't, and there are other aspects of the body that are also affected, but this is the main one. So looking at this diagram, which is the diagram of the iceberg, I always love using it to describe the brain, because below the surface, which is our subconscious brain, which is what drives about 95% of what we do, is where you have all the values, our beliefs, experiences, mindsets, cultural background, genetic traits. Genetic traits is an interesting one as well, in the sense that with genetic traits, science is actually now showing, especially with epigenetics, that a lot of what goes on in the environment actually affect whether a gene is turned on or off, or whether the gene is expressed or not. So the fact that you've inherited something doesn't mean that it will be expressed. And in a lot of people, it's actually not. So again, this is just reminding us that we don't have to be victims of our genetic, of what we've inherited, because a lot of times it's not even expressed at all. Now, in terms of values and beliefs and mindsets, this is where it becomes so important to start paying attention to what's wired into the brain, because all these things come wired into the brain mainly when we're children, even as adults. A lot of times when you're not aware of what's coming in, when you're not paying attention to what you're reading, what you're exposing yourself to, all these things come into the brain and wire in, and then you're acting it out without even knowing, because it's become so. That noise is getting worse, isn't it? Is it disturbing you guys? No?
I mean, not on my side though, so I don't know other
Okay.
people. Is can you
We
put in the
can
chat?
manage. We can manage. I can still hear you clearly,
Okay,
Maureen.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. So yeah, based on that, it's so important to remember, I think the key thing to take away from today is that your subconscious is what drives 95% of what you do. So that's why you can literally drive a car, chatting with someone, not pay attention to where you're going, and still get to where you're going. But what we want to start doing is start paying attention to what's wired into our brain, and so that you're sure that what is there is what you actually want. Because a lot of times that threat response is activated without us even being aware. So the question then is, this thing that I'm afraid of, is it actually a real fear? Is it something I should be afraid of? Is it a threat, or is it something that is perceived? And if it is perceived, then you can then change the narrative, and this is where the whole rewiring comes in. So 5% is really what we deal with consciously. And this is when we are intentional about doing things, maybe intentional about learning to drive, intentional about learning to swim. For me, I just started learning how to swim, and it was a very conscious thing. So, and it was so funny. I remember once getting into the pool and the instructor was telling me what to do. And I said, you know what? My brain is really refusing. So I was really willing to do it, but my brain was doing something else. So my leg was not responding at all. My hands were doing something else. And it just shows you how complex our brain is. And I actually say it just shows us how amazing God has made our brain, how complex the brain is in terms of how it works. And I don't have a diagram on this presentation, but there's a slide I have that literally shows you the, the brain of a child. And you see that the brain cells in a child, in a new baby's brain, are kind of lying independently. But as time goes on, as the child becomes exposed to the parents, what the parents say, the relationship they have with the parents, whether the parents are huggy, loving, whether, just really a lot of all the interactions, school and all that, you start seeing the neurons. These are the brain cells connecting together. And this is what then makes person behave a particular way. And we call that maybe a child's personality or a person's personality. As time goes on and you grow up and to become an adult, a lot of the experiences you've had that are now stored in subconscious then come out consciously in terms of what we do. So it's what what science is showing us now is that all those connections in the subconscious brain that we used to think we couldn't change from when we were about 25, because the belief was at 25, the way your brain was the way it was going to stay for the rest of your life. Now we know that that's not true, that we can keep changing our brain, that we can keep rewiring our brain all through our life, which is what then makes us completely, totally limitless. And if you really go back to scripture, the Bible actually tells us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And for me as a Christian, I think that is just mind blowing, because science is really showing that what scripture says, is true. And I just find it so powerful. So this is, I put this diagram to just remind us of different emotions and things that we experience. Shame, in feeling that feeling of inadequacy, feeling discouraged when things happen, self-sabotage, procrastination. Why do all this happen? This happen because of what's wired in the subconscious here. So a lot of things that are wired, beliefs. I was in a meeting with someone recently, and he was telling me how, even though he runs his business, he still believes, that he's not good with numbers. And when we started digging down, it was because he was told as a child that he's not good with numbers. So this is a full-grown adult still believing that he's not. So what does he do? He doesn't put the effort in to even learn, because his belief is that no, he's not good at it. So all these beliefs, so that when you tell a child that they can't, or tell a child, oh, this one can, but you can't do this, or you're good at this or not good at that. I remember one of my son's teachers telling my son when he was 5, or calling me to tell me when my son was 5, that my son is more creative and not really academic. And I really had to tell her off, because you can see how automatically she was about to put him in a box, with her own narrative, with her own mindset. So we, even as parents, need to be very careful what teachers tell our children, but what we also tell our children, but what we also tell ourselves. So I want us to go through four points that are really crucial to really help us as entrepreneurs. And the first thing is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is what I just mentioned, which is the ability of the brain to adapt, the ability of the brain to change, the fact that we can keep changing this brain. And what El Nightingale says here is so true. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. The emotional part is the interesting one, because when information comes into the brain, that emotional brain is the one that scans and connects an emotion to this information. And then then gets stored in memory. So what you then find a lot of times is that that is why you hear people say that people will not remember what you did for them, but they will remember how you made them feel. And it just shows you how powerful that emotional brain is. And that's why it's so important to really develop those emotional intelligence skills, because that is really what is going to help you understand how to manage that emotional brain. And repetition is what rewires the brain. Why? Because it's repetition that had wired it in the first place, that had created the narratives that you have. So it's the more you repeat it, then you can create a new narrative. The second point is emotional intelligence, which is this ability to recognize and control your emotions and behavior whilst being aware of how they impact and affect those around you. And what I would say here is that, for example, when you have a thought, that thought creates an emotion. The emotion is what then makes you carry out an action. Remember, I said to you that when you're under threat response, the flight or freeze mechanism kicks in. So the action you take could be procrastinating, it could be self-sabotage out of fear, or not wanting to be seen as incompetent. But the what then follows next is when you repeat the same pattern, the same action, then what you then have is what we call personality. But I tend not to really dwell on personality, because with personality, you feel that that's it, you can't change, that's the way I am. But from what I'm telling you this evening, you can see that no, you can't change. So instead of focusing on personality, what I focus on is behavior pattern. So you have a thought, creates an emotion that makes you carry out an action. And when you repeat that over a period of time, you have a habit that can become that becomes your behavior pattern. And that can be changed. So the next part is the cognitive strategies for decision making and problem solving. And remember, I spoke to you earlier about the prefrontal cortex, the frontal part of our brain that really helps us make decisions. So if you find that the emotional part of the brain is in threat, you find that you don't make the right decisions. You might not even make decisions at all. So effective decision making and problem solving are critical for navigating the complexities of running a business. So it's important to really understand your brain, understand your thoughts, be aware of what you're thinking. And if you need to reframe or change the narrative or change the perspective of what you're doing, that's what you need to focus on doing so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. If not, you find, because a lot of times you find people, stuck in wanting to do something, but stuck in perfectionism, where you keep wanting everything to be perfect before you do it, or even putting things off, not knowing why. But when you dig deeper, it might just be fear of failing. When I wanted to set up this particular business, because I had failed previously, immediately my subconscious went into action. And it was, what if it fails again? What will people say? And all that. And it almost paralyzed me, freezing. But I had to really change the narrative and then tell myself, no, I'm going to try it, because I learned lessons from before. What happened before doesn't make me a failure. The business failed, but I learned from it and I've grown from it. So this time I'm going to do it and use the lessons I've learned to then move forward. And it was a completely different journey from then on. The final one is the neuroscience of motivation and resilience. Understanding the brain's reward system can enlighten us on how to cultivate motivation and resilience. One of the key things about the brain is that the different parts of the brain have receptors. So based on how you activate, so the parts of the brain you use more, you find that some people actually activate the frontal part of their brain more. When they do that, they're activating dopamine. And when that happens, you find that these people are very creative. Now, the people that activate the frontal left activate the serotonin, and you find that they're very focused on quality. So that if these two people are working together, if they don't understand each other, there could be a problem, because the dopamine driven people or person really likes change, really, is constantly coming up with ideas, flitting from one thing to another. While the person who has wired the serotonin area more, really likes structure and doesn't like change so much, wants things to be kept in a particular way. And I remember working with someone like that, where you had two different people, and the manager was complaining that this dopamine person literally was so, very disorganized. His desk was just littered all over, and he was trying to change him to be like himself. And I had to really explain to him the difference. And you said that's why I use that FedEx logo quite a lot, just for you to see that everyone is different. He's got a skill. You, instead of trying to change him to be who you want, utilize what he's got to get the best out of him to help you. And this is the same thing when communicating with people as an entrepreneur. If who are the people, who is the person you're communicating with, who is the client that you want to get on, try and understand how they're wired, because then when you speak to them, they will hear. If not, it's almost like you're speaking English and they're hearing it in Greece. And this is where you tend to have misunderstandings as well, even in relationships. So what's the next step? And I'm going to finish in a second. One of the first things to implement is a growth mindset. So important. And I've just put examples here of a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, and I've used this as an example. The key thing is that with a growth mindset, you're focusing on growth, focusing on positivity, so that you're seeing challenges as opportunities for growth. So it's thinking about the perception you have. Thinking about what you say, how you say it, is so important. And then using emotional intelligence to navigate a crisis. But on the third thing is decision-making frameworks, things like SWOT analysis or COPE analysis, or things to really help you think about the decisions you're making. Where are we now? What's the problem we are having, and where do we want to go? And there are different strategies that you can use to go through that. Then the other thing is self-care, exercise, sufficient sleep. Meditation is so important in terms of how we actually just stop and calm the brain. Even when praying, a lot of times we just talk at God, but just being able to stop and listen is so powerful. As you're doing that, you're also calming your brain. You're also enabling your neurons, the brain cells, to connect, and deep insights are able to come out. It's so powerful. So both scripturally, but also scientifically as well. So I hope this has kind of given you seeds or things to think about that will really help you in the rest of the 3 days, but also help you in terms of running your business. So, and I put this slide here because it's a huge reminder that everything I've spoken about is a choice. And the choice is yours to take in terms of you can do it. If you start, and it's, I think the key thing is to just start by paying attention to what you say. So paying attention to things like it's too difficult, it's so hard, it will take me a while. All those that's almost like a fixed mindset. So change the narrative to it might be challenging, but I'm going to put in my effort and make and do my best. Do you see? So it's changing the narrative of what you're doing. Because the other thing that is so important to remember is whatever you tell your brain is what it will do. Tell your brain something is difficult, your brain will then show you why, every reason why you shouldn't do it, because it's difficult. And that's why it's so important to be really careful. Even as a Christian, what you say is so important. And that's why, because what you tell your brain is what it will do. The question you ask is what it will respond to. So the winners in life think constantly in terms of I can, I will, and I am. Losers concentrate on what they should have, or what would have done, what they would have done, or what they can do. So think about that. And then I've just put here, take a chance, take charge, and take control. Totally take charge of that brain. So important. This final quote is: the greatest danger for most of us is not that we aim too high and miss it, but that we aim too low and reach it and then become satisfied. So, keep pushing yourself. And finally, you can take a picture of these. These are just questions for you to reflect on as you go through. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. And, I'm quite pleased if you just write in the chat what was your biggest takeaway from this session, so that let's use that throughout the weekend. And like I said, it would be fantastic to connect with you on social media or through my website. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And so
Thank you.
sorry for...
Before you go, can you just bring, the one you said to take picture? Can you just bring the slide up, please? Because I think it stayed so, it was taken out so quickly. And I'll put the links of your, yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll put the links of your contacts in the chat for anybody that wants to contact you.
Cool.
Wow. I have thoroughly enjoyed this session.
It was
Honestly,
quite a lot, so I hope
I have enjoyed it, even though I'm somebody who listens to these things all the time. But yeah, every time there's something new coming my way, it's been incredible. And so this is Maureen's diary. If you wanna book a call, so that's first. This one is the ebook to download. I would also put in her diary for you to book a call with her. I think I'll be booking a call with you, honestly. Because when you talk about the dopamine brain, I'm like, okay, some of us fit into that because you always are going from one thing to the other, and that actually drives other people mad because it's like they want to slow down and just take things in and be creative, and then so it's really interesting to see the contrast in how we think. Any question, please put your questions in the chat.
I wasn't sure of questions. Are you doing questions at the
I
end?
think I should do questions. You have been very good, so I'm really impressed. You kept to the time. So we will do questions for the next 15 minutes. Anybody that has a question, if you can put your questions in the chat, or what you have learned actually, because this is very powerful. For me, I was just nodding all the way through, because even when you talked about meditation, so again, most of us, like you said, we talk at God. Some of us, me in person, it's difficult. You sit to meditate. I've been learning about these things, but just even 5 minutes, you see that the brain is just going everywhere. It's thinking about other things. The fact that, you forgot to do this. Can you get up and do that? So how do we quieten the brain, especially for medication? That I will be the first person to ask question, unless anybody has any question to ask, please.
Yeah, that's
while
a
you are
good
answering
point,
people.
though. Yeah, that's a good point with the meditation. The thing about the brain is start small. So just do it small bit. So what I started doing was I'll set my timer for 1 minute and just stay quiet, just 1 minute, and just stay there, just quietly, but have a vision, and almost have a vision in your mind. I tend to have a vision of just being before the throne room of God, and you can just have a vision of anything you want, whatever it is, but just stay there quietly. Your brain will wander when you start, but just bring it back. So each time it wanders, bring it back, as long as that timer hasn't gone off. Keep doing the same thing. And as time goes on, then you can increase it to 2 minutes. Then you can increase it to 3 minutes and just keep going from there. But honestly, 2 minutes is absolutely fine. But I would say start with 1 minute. Don't even do before, don't go longer than 1 minute. And use the same principle when doing other things. I also did it when I was creating a new behavior pattern for myself. Just set a timer. And I'll give you a quick example. When I started the podcast editing, I found challenging. So what does my brain do? My brain says, do it later. procrastination. So I said to myself, I'm going to edit this podcast and I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes and not move. So 5 minutes, take a 2 minute, 5 minutes, take a 5 minute break. Do you know that in that 5 minutes, I found myself in my kitchen making a cup of coffee? I had to drop the cup, come back and sit down. The next thing I was looking at my email. I had to stop myself again. 5 minutes I couldn't do. And that's the brain trying to, that avoidance. So just chunks, start in small, small bits and then build up. Now I can sit down for half an hour and edit a podcast and I'm gone. But it's the repetition.
Lovely. Thank you so much. You know, when you talk about the medication, the 1 minute chunks, because I had what I learned was 5 minutes, and even the 5 minutes. Or some people would say, oh, they can sit for whatever number of minutes. But I often find the 5 minutes challenging, but 1 minute is certainly doable. So, so that's something that is something that I can practice. So thank you for that. The other thing that you mentioned is the brain of the baby. I wish you had something to show us, honestly, because as a matter of fact, I have been learning these days about mindset, and I have seen from what your discussion, mindset and the brain science, there's similarity, but there's difference. Because you are telling us the whys, which makes sense to me. Than when we talk about mindset, they like it is similar, but yours is making it clearer as to why is this happening and how does it relate to the brain. So for me, that is something really powerful that I can take away. So can you just repeat, like a baby, how do we get these things into, like, when we grow up, we are this person, we're that person, we're that person. But at birth, what does the brain look like once again, please?
Yeah. You see, the difference between mind, literally, and brain is that the brain is literally the structure. So you've got the structure, and it's the connections, the chemical connections, the electrical connections, is everything happening within there that is really the mind. And the mind doesn't even stop up here. The mind can be down in the body because everything is flowing. But why we call it a mindset is that over time, you then have what I've described as the behavior pattern. So it's the networks that form. And because, so for example, when you're walking through a path, initially, if it's a path that doesn't exist, it will be overgrown. But as you keep walking on that path, then you find that as time goes on, it becomes known as a path. And that's literally what happens. So in the brain, you have brain cells known as neurons. And in a newborn child, you tend to find that these neurons lie individually. So they lie almost parallel to each other. As the child becomes exposed to life, parents, what the parents say, the parents' voice, how they interact, different things, you start seeing these neurons connecting. And one neuron connects with the other through what's known as synapses, if you go back to biology. So it's information passing from one neuron to another. As these connections continue, so if the child keeps hearing the same thing, then most these connections keep connecting, so it becomes almost like that pathway, so it becomes so fast. And that's why we can that's really the mindset. So when that connection forms, it becomes default, so that if something comes in, you find where something might happen, and then you react or respond, and you go, I don't know where that came from. That's the mindset. That's that pathway that has formed. So over time, you tend to find that some have become so fixed and some are not so fixed based on people. And that's why when people say, oh, but how do I rewire my brain based on this? How long will it take? I don't know, because you might have really had a very strong, tight connection. So when you're creating a new one, the default, the brain will keep going to the subconscious, will keep going to that default till this new one becomes established. And then what happens over time is that the old ones might disintegrate or just be unused. So the key thing to remember is that we keep forming these neural pathways, even whether we are aware of it or not. And it's similar to how I described the 4 areas of the brain, the receptors. You have serotonin here, you have estrogen, you have testosterone. So, for example, over time, you might find that maybe somebody has been brought up to use this part a lot more, which is to do with really caring about people. But when it's that whole thing of when you overdo something, it can, when you overcook vegetables, they literally lose their nutrients. That's it. So when you use a part so much, what then happens, that strength becomes a weakness. And that's why you find somebody that truly cares so much about people can become a people pleaser. So that's the negative, because they do that. For the serotonin, because they like structure, they like really focusing on doing things well, they focus more on the quality. If they overdo it and really keep wiring those parts, they become perfectionists. So they get stuck in the detail. And for somebody that works for you like that, you find that they start missing deadlines. I work with some embryologists who their role needs them to be like that, to be perfectionists. But then when they then go into leadership, they struggle because they don't let go, and then they burn out. So can you see how it all links here?
Wow, that's amazing. I think one last question before we move on would be that in terms of rewiring the brain, what will be your thoughts on affirmations with regards to how to rewire the neurons and so that we can do the right thing for our present life or
Okay,
business or
that's a good question. I explained to you about the emotional center of the brain. That is the most powerful part of the brain, because when information comes in, that's the part that really scans the brain. And if it's a threat, it takes action immediately. When we make affirmations, if you're just saying words, there's no emotional connection to them. So they're just words, and they don't it's almost like they don't stay in memory. They kind of come and go, or they don't hook to for you to be able to carry out an action. And that's why it's even important in goal setting, that when setting a goal, instead of just writing, oh, this is a goal I want to set, there are steps you need to take before. In fact, I've got this formula whereby setting the goal is step 3. Step 1, 2, you need to really connect emotionally, and that is what will help you achieve the goal. So, what the best way to do it is, instead of if you're going to use affirmations, move them from just being words to words with emotion, with meaning. So, for example, for one typical example that I always use is identity, because I use that as an anchor for whatever it is I'm doing, or when I'm coaching people. Your identity in God. Surely the Women's Network, that was the first thing we worked on for about 3 months. Who does God say I am? So just using, so when you're then going over who God says you are, you're really connecting it emotionally to who God says you are. So it's not just words, there's an emotional connection to it. And then that is what will then enable you to carry out the action that you need to carry out for it to become meaningful. So I hope that's a quick explanation, but I hope that makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense because again, when we talk about mindset, there's always the saying that to do affirmations, and of course, sometimes you feel that, oh, you're doing the affirmations and it's taking so long for you to even believe it yourself, and so on and
Exactly.
so forth. But for what you're saying, there has to be that emotional connection. And I think the key thing that stands out for me is changing knowing your identity. So, for example, people will say, if somebody smokes that wants to stop smoking, instead of saying that, instead of saying that I can't smoke, for them to say that I'm not a smoker, for instance.
Okay,
And
so for example, with smoking, the question then, before you even get to that, is why do you want to stop smoking? You've got to give your subconscious a reason. Why do you want to stop smoking? If you're stopping smoking because you've been asked to, that's not connecting. It's not you. It's not, it's almost an external thing. So there has to be the why first of why you want to stop smoking. And that is where the connection happens. That's that emotional connection. And then the other thing, which is a great point you touched on, is the narrative you use in terms of you're going to stop smoking. Do you see? Because again, and it's also good to give it almost like a time frame sometimes when you're working with the brain. The subconscious brain doesn't know past tense or future a lot of times. What it knows is present. So when talking about smoking, it's really been, smoking is a good example of I'm working to stop smoking. And this is what I intend doing. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to maybe cut down from two, just have two a day, or cut off completely for a week, but be very, it's almost like you're micromanaging your brain. So give it exactly what you want. And, for the other example I give, especially with talking about what the brain wants, some people say, I don't want to be in debt. The subconscious brain doesn't know whether you want or not want. So what do you want? Tell your brain what you want, not what you don't want, because the more you talk about what you don't want, it will keep showing you that thing you don't want. So focus on what you want, and then you'll be able to move, take the action.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Anybody else has a question? Because it seems like I'm the only one with all the questions. I have found this very, very insightful. I found it very useful. Really, really grateful. I think the diary, Maureen's diary link is on the chat. So if you can copy that down, so that you can reach out to her, because I believe that these things that she's saying, I have been learning them, but I not from what you're saying, I know that I need somebody to sit with me and then to discuss personally, because this is general information for each and every one of us who is here. This is general information just to show you what you are capable of, or what the brain can do for you if you harness it. But then you need to speak so that it is personal. The questions will be personal to you, your life situation, where you want to be and all that, especially with regards to goal setting. Instead of us continuously missing deadlines and missing the goals, if we sit down and talk and get the brain to agree with the things that we desire, obviously, whether it's to grow the business or to develop your person in terms of personal development, obviously that's going to become true for you. So thank you so much, Maureen. I really, really appreciate you. Maybe there will be questions coming later, but I'm going to introduce Blessing to speak. Blessing will be speaking for about half an hour, and indeed we would round up the conversation if there are no questions coming in. So I really, really do appreciate you. So I'm going to unpin you and then look for Blessing. Yakubu, are you here, Blessing?
Here I am.
Okay, right. So I will replace. Hello, Blessing.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Okay. So Blessing Yakubu is my daughter, and she has been in this journey for how many years now? Several years. She started when she was 16, and she's 21 at this point, and she's in uni studying marketing and business and marketing. It's all stemmed from the fact that I started a business and I got her involved. She was excited about it, and years later, here we are. She is doing lots of things with regards to marketing and AI and influencing and all those kind of things. So she's going to be speaking about number one, how to use AI to create content, because most of us here, me one of included, can be really scared about AI, because sometimes you hear that AI is using someone's voice, or they're using AI to do other things, and you're like, oh my God, where is the world going to? And again, going back to what Maureen was saying, you can go into the freeze mode of flight mode or whichever, but then none of that will help us. We need the right information. We need to hear from somebody who has been doing this, and how is helping her work, and how is helping even to make the work easier, and also to generate the content that's needed. In the online space, we are supposed to be creators. We are supposed to continuously share our vision, share what we stand for. We can't do that without content. And sometimes creating the content is the thing that makes people not do it, because it takes time. What if you could learn about AI, or just have a concept about it, and then go learn it after this session, and get the easiest way of actually creating your content. So over to you, Miss Yakubu.
Okay. Okay. Right. Yeah. So hi everyone. My name is Yakubu. Oh,
Is your phone close to you, because we are having echo?
it is. I can put it on airplane mode. Has that helped? Ooh, I think it did. No, it didn't.
Can you hear
Okay.
people, please? Can you hear? Because I'm
Yeah, I can hear, but it's got
I'm
like that
having feedback.
same echoey thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Can people hear Blessing, or is it echoing too badly? I don't know what to do at this point, unfortunately.
We can hear. We can
Okay.
hear.
Okay.
you can
Thank
hear?
you.
Then I'll just have to go with. So hi everyone. Yeah, like Mum said, my name is Blessing. I am a university student. I'm studying business management and marketing. And again, with what Mum said, I essentially got into it as a result of Mum doing her marketing and business journey as well. So I've kind of stepped back a bit for uni, but my background is in social media, Instagram specifically. So I had a beauty account called Beauty with Blessing, and at its height, I got it to 29,000 followers, and I was able to monetize the account. So how I even really got started in skincare and beauty in the first place was that I'd always loved makeup since I was young. But unfortunately for me, mom kind of put a ban on me and wearing makeup. So she didn't let me wear makeup until I was like 16, which meant I had to kind of focus on other things. And whilst I had a ban on makeup, I also had a ban on like Instagram and social media. So like I wasn't meant to have social media. I didn't get Facebook until I was like 18. So that says it in a sense. But yeah, so I focused on my skin because I was, becoming a teenager. I was having acne, I was having issues with my skin, and I would stay up researching different tips on how to take care of my skin. And then I'd go out and try it, but there was never really an account that posted that type of stuff anyway. So I just made a note of it and kind of had social media in secret. I had my own personal account. But it wasn't until mum started going on her business journey in marketing that she actually encouraged me and Vanessa to maybe think about having our own social media accounts. So we came together and we created, I think it was Hair and Skin B&V, Hair Skin B&V. So we take it in turns posting skincare and hair care content. But at that time, I was going to do my GCSEs, and Vanessa realized that I wasn't really, Vanessa, my younger sister, she realized it wasn't really for her. So she went and she made her own Instagram account, Tasty Time. And so left it to my GCSEs, and in the summer of 2018, I basically came back to Beauty with Blessing. And I decided, okay, why don't I actually take it seriously? So I took the time to basically understand the algorithm, and I worked with other content creators to basically boost our accounts and to try and grow them to as big as possible. So on that journey, I learned a lot of tips for growing the account, different type of different types of, you know, people you could talk to, what you could do with other accounts to kind of just make the algorithm pick up your post. And so I kept up with that, and then about literally just over a year later, I hit 10,000 followers. So that was 2019. And then after that, mum came to me and basically said, why don't you think about monetizing your account? Which I've never really come to mind, but you know, when you hear about influencers and, you know, people who make money out of their accounts, that's how they do it. They grow it to a certain amount and then they monetize it. So I went out there and then I would just message more brands. You know, would you like me to post your content? Do it like a paid post, or you know, you could receive some of your skincare products and then do a review. So I would do it like that. And then again, I just worked on basically growing my account. And by 2020, I hit 29,000 followers, which was incredible. The fact that, you know, when you think about Wembley, for example, that has 20,000 seats in it. So the fact that I had 29,000 followers, that is enough people to fill up Wembley and some more, which was again incredible. So during that time, Vanessa was also doing her account. She had a food account. And we would go around to different restaurants, and then she would do posts about the food. So during that time, we got noticed by Omega Live TV, and me and Vanessa actually went on. We basically spoke about our work and how we were doing social media as young adults. Basically, you know, a lot of our parents, or at least I know a lot of adults kind of see social media and think of the negatives. But me and Vanessa really wanted to kind of show that there were positives in social media. I was able to make money, she was able to make money, and basically just upskill ourselves and make ourselves stand out from the people our age. So through that, we were also, well, I was also connected with the creator of Miss Ghana UK. So I did some social media for them during 2021. I was their social media manager, just doing posts for them and making sure that their accounts were still active. And then through that, I also got an opportunity to work with Natalie Clue, who is an amazing social media strategist. I got to work under her as a junior social media manager. So again, kind of going into the professional side of social media marketing, not just as a content creator, but as actually the people on the other side, you know, the companies or the businesses who would go out and hire people to help them with their accounts. And then since then, I'm now at university. Like I said, I've been working with Donya Na, I call her Auntie Donya. But I've been working with her recently. We've been looking a lot into AI and basically just seeing what it can do, because again, I think a lot of adults kind of hear about AI and then they freak out and they don't really understand it. But I see it as the same as social media. So my mum for the longest time was against me having social media. She didn't understand it. But it didn't go away, it only got bigger. And then we ended up learning about it anyway. So I kind of see that in the same lens of as AI, as to why should we hide and kind of reject change when we could embrace it and kind of help it, basically get it to help our lives and make our lives easier. Because I know I've definitely benefited from using AIs, ChatGPT, we are best friends, honestly. So I'm just gonna basically share my screen and, oh, I can't share my screen. Would I be able to share my screen? Mum, can I share my screen? Okay, well, I was going to do kind of an example with ChatGPT to kind of show what it can do. But for me as a student, I've used ChatGPT to help me with creating and developing my ideas that I put into my essays, which I'm obviously, judged on and are really important to me. So I get ChatGPT to help me that way. I've also used it to help me with content creation. So again, as someone who has been in the content creation space, or if you're looking to maybe do content creation, then ChatGPT can help you with ideas, so video ideas, social media post ideas. If you ever, for example, are really struggling, ChatGPT can help you. It's almost like a personal Google in a sense. And again, even for things like cooking, if you go into your kitchen and you see what's in your kitchen, you could actually type it into ChatGPT and ask it to help you create a meal, and it would do so. Oh, okay, yeah. So I guess I'll just share an example, the kitchen one. So for example, actually no. Oh, see, even here it shows examples of how you can use ChatGPT. So plan a trip. If anyone's going on holiday in the near future, then ChatGPT can help you do it. You just type in what question you have for it down here. It could be anything, and then it will come out with an answer for you. So I'll do an example. I'll do one in content creation. So hi, I am a beauty content creator and would like a content table. Just something like that. Okay. Yeah. So boom. Already here, you can see all the different examples that it has given me to use. So if I was, say, on Instagram actively or on TikTok actively, then I could note these down as different posts. So you've got natural everyday glam, natural everyday look, glam night, that's two already. Then a foundation review, a lipstick swatch. You've got spring fashion haul, skincare haul, makeup challenge, all these different examples that you could use. And I'm going to be honest, if I'd have had to sit down and think of it myself, I'm not even sure I would have been able to think of this many posts. So yeah, that's just an example of what ChatGPT can do. I always say, like I said, you shouldn't really be afraid of it because it is here to stay. Why struggle when we can essentially use things to help ourselves? Technology is out here for us. It's out here to make life easier for us. So we might as well just embrace it sooner rather than later. I'm done. If anyone has any questions for me, then I can answer them now. Hi, Pastor Catherine.
Hi, Blessing. Hi, everyone. Yes, I really enjoyed that. Yes, ChatGPT is the best friend. Yeah, so question for me is how do I grow my followers? You know, as NLP weight loss coach, how do I grow them without paying you know, to be able to boost my post? How do I do that?
Yeah. So for me, when I had my account, what I would do is I would look for similar accounts to mine and basically look at their following. So look at their
Okay.
following and then you know, just connect with them, follow them, see if they follow back. But go on their posts, interact with their posts. So it's like five of their most recent posts,
Okay.
and then comment on 2 of the most recent, and then see if they reciprocate that. A lot of the times I would find that accounts would reciprocate that and would then even follow as such. You could also do, so if you find similar accounts to yours, you could ask them if they would like to be in an engagement group. So that is a group where you would find accounts that are similar to yours. You guys all join a group so that anytime you post, for example, then everyone in that group would like your post, would comment on your post, and vice versa. So for example, you could do an engagement group of me, Mum, Maureen, Dolapo. You could do an engagement group, and then anytime any of you guys have a post, you just send it to each other to engage and like. And yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Catherine, for that question. So, Blessing, I just want you to share, for example, if someone is to create like a week's worth of content,
Yeah,
or just few days worth of content, let's use Pastor Catherine as an example, weight loss.
yeah.
How would she use ChatGTP to do that, please?
Okay. Should I share my screen as well?
Yes, you still
Yeah.
have the.
So weight loss. So again, like I said, I would say, hi. I have it's an Instagram account, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram account that is dedicated to weight loss, women's weight loss, yes?
Yeah.
Or okay,
Family weight loss.
to family weight loss.
Yeah.
The more specific you are, the better with it. So family weight loss. Do you know who your target audience are?
Yeah, men, women, professionals, and family. Yeah, that's why I'm you know, targeting family.
Is it
Because
just
when it's
any type of family, African families?
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Caucasian, African, yeah.
I think I spelled audience wrong. Audience, there we go. My target audience are families, young families, old families, or does it not really
Young
matter?
families. Young
Okay.
families.
My target audience are young families. I've got that already. So yeah, in that, I guess because your target audience is quite broad, it doesn't really matter. But when you talk about your target audience, try and get as specific as possible. Their backgrounds, their nationalities, what they might like to do, their age groups, their gender. Be as specific as possible, because the more specific you are, the more it can help you out. So I have an Instagram account that is dedicated to family weight loss. My target audience are young families. Please help me create a content table, you said, Mum, right?
Yeah.
A content table so I can create intriguing, interesting posts. Sure, I can use a better word than interesting, but it's lost my mind. All right, so send that in. So here it is.
That.
It's come up with the information. What would have taken you, you know, maybe a full day, hours to kind of just think about, it has come up with how many ideas? Over, I would say maybe over 50 ideas, 60 even. So all you need to do is copy that, and then you can go in every day, or depending on your posting schedule, you just tick it off as you go along. So quick and easy breakfast ideas for busy mornings. Make sure you post that maybe a Sunday, so that for the next month, maybe like a Friday or something, you know, think about when people go shopping, when they're ready to start new recipes, you know,
Recipe.
family-friendly dinners. You've got that there. Nutritious snacks for the kids, fun outdoor activities. Yep. So again, you don't also have to just focus on the food. You can look into exercise and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. You don't have
Pastor
to close
Catherine,
video.
you have no excuse anymore. You've been shown how to generate content in minutes. So that's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Blessing, for that.
Yeah. Can
Thank
I
you.
give one more example before I go as well? I think this is again from my personal view as a young person, but if you are nervous about your child using ChatGPT, then I recently got a new job back in February after doing some serious job searching. And I actually got ChatGPT to help me with the cover letter that I wrote, which eventually got me the job. So I think that says it all, because now, yeah, like it's great to have extra income as a uni student. My mom knows how happy I was when I got that job. So yeah, even if you are scared of it, at least just encourage your children to check it out. It can really, really help them.
Wonderful. I always say, parents, we are some parents are very, very skeptical, which is understandable, but this is the world that our young people live in. And if you look at what Blessing is doing now, if I didn't encourage her, possibly she could have been using the internet, but in a different way, just to have fun, and that's it. But here's the thing, she is using it to be able to make money for herself, which for me is priceless, because then that has taken one big weight off my shoulder, because at least she can generate her own income using the skills that she has developed over the years, which I encourage every parent to encourage your children to use these abilities. Now, Blessing, I just want you to take a few minutes to talk to us about influencer marketing, because even though I know about influencer marketing, recently I was listening to this speaker, and then she finished her presentation, and then she talked about influencer marketing, and I was just blown away once again. And so I feel that it is an underutilized facility, because when you think about influencers, they have all these people who are following them. And for us who are upcoming in terms of business, we want to be able to get exposure. And so reaching out to an influencer just give us that leg room for them to kind of handhold us and expose us to their audience. And indeed, that can catapult your business. Can you just share in a few minutes of what that means, please?
Yes, so with influencer marketing, obviously it's all about influencers, people who have essentially grown their accounts to you know, it could be thousands, tens of thousands, millions, it depends. But at the end of the day, an influencer really is just someone who has a following, who has a voice, who has an impact. And you know, you hear stories about people whose lives have been changed because of influencers. Or I'll give a specific one that I think I keep mum up to date with this. But this guy, his name is Keith Lee, and he's a food influencer. He basically got really big because he goes to I guess small businesses who maybe don't have the money for influencers, and then he tries the food, he rates it, and then because of his following, he has I think like 15 million followers. If he says something is good, his followers all go there and they sell out the shop, and that's just one influencer. So think about all the different influencers out there. There are so many different influencers for the different niches. So obviously you'll have car influencers, you'll have, okay, so for example, a car influencer would be my brother, shameless plug. Yamdana, my younger brother, he has a TikTok account where I think he's at 4,000 followers now, and he posts car content. So you could say he is essentially a car influencer. I was a beauty influencer. I did skincare, beauty products, beauty tips, and Vanessa was a food influencer. She went to restaurants, she tried out food. So there's so many different influencers. I think it's beneficial for businesses to reach out to influencers because just the reach that they have. So I remember on my account, I had a lot of American followers. And at that time, I'd never stepped foot in America. But yeah, I had so many followers in America. It meant that I could push an American product and it would sell to them. Which is incredible because not only would I have my, influence here, but also in another country. You hear things about people who have millions of followers and they have more followers than, for example, people on a certain country or something, which I find incredible. But yeah, as a business, like I said, you can reach a wide range of audiences, especially if you're an online no, especially if you're an online business, you would need to be able to reach more customers because you'll be able to sell more, you'll be able to sell further. I think also you should reach out to influencers, just because again, even if it's not a post, you could still get your name out there. And at the end of the day, as a business owner, what you want is your name out there, your product's name out there, your brand name out there for people to at least have some awareness about you, and then to go check you out.
Lovely, lovely. So in terms of contacting influencers, what's the process? So if someone is listening to you and
Yeah.
they're like, okay, this sounds good. Number one, how do I find them? How do I find the genuine ones? And how do I contact them? And what would be the negotiations to be able to get someone to work with, an influencer to work with?
Yeah, so I know like if you're looking at bigger influencers, then they usually have their management in their handle. But if you're looking for smaller influencers, just send them a message, or if they have a website or something, send them an email. Sometimes they'll have their email attached. So you either send them a message or an email, you just introduce yourself, hi, you're the business owner for whatever brand, or you have this company and you'd like to work with them. You ask them what their rates are, so what they're charging for. They'll let you know, you agree on, are you doing a paid promotion? So that would be paying for a post. And then again, you would either agree this, or you would send them content, or they create the content for you. So it's either one of those two. So if you send them content, then you just tell them when you want the content posted, and then they'll send it out. But if they're creating content for you, then obviously they send it back to you just to make sure you're okay with it before sending it out. But yeah, you just give them the dates, the time when you want it out, and then just make sure you pay them, obviously, and then they'll obviously send the post out when it's meant to. So yeah, you can either do paid promotions, or you can do product for product, which is sending them a product which they then review, a free product. But yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I know with regards to product, both paid and products, we used to get lots of food in the house.
Yeah.
When Vanessa was doing it. Yeah, you hear a knock on the door and it's Vanessa's food and the whole family is fed and watered. So that is actually exciting to know. In terms of the the rates, I think is the rates that's what actually gets people stuck, especially for new or for small business owners. And I just want to explain one thing. I was watching this YouTube video, and this guy who created like a gift card in Nigeria, he said he worked so hard, got everything set, and he wasn't getting traction. And then he decided to pay one influencer who is a musician. In fact, he actually showed the video the guy did. It was a very, very basic video. And he said that video alone blew his company, from nothing to making millions overnight because of one influencer. So I just want to also say for those of us here, because most of us are also from Africa as well. So not only are we just looking at people who are here, because perhaps if you are going to reach out to an influencer who is in the UK, maybe their rate is higher. So what about our own people back in Africa? We can reach out to the influencers out there and I'm just saying, as I'm talking, I'm looking at Pastor Catherine because she's into the weight loss industry. I know that you could be selling weight loss products as well. And that could be a way of, getting your business out there, finding just one, good influencer to actually endorse your products, and that could be a game changer for you. Thank you so much, Blessing. Any question for Blessing anymore? Anybody? So AI, how you can use ChatGTP, and if you have not been using it, you can try it. If you don't understand it, go on YouTube and find some videos. Look at it, because okay, someone hand is up who is asking a question. Let me see. Is anyone asking it? Oh yeah. Okay. MJ. Yes, please ask your.
Hello, good evening, sis. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Blessing, for wow, that was amazing. Though I joined in late, but I've got this question. It's regarding boosting a post either on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, because I get that often. And for me, I'm very skeptical because I don't trust accounts on Facebook. I'm not too sure if I should do the boosting, because people said, oh, when you boost your post, actually, it really go wild for you to be relevant and get customers and clients. Because I do marketing online, as in sales of products, weight loss, beauty. I do some food. I'm all over the place there because I just enjoy doing business because I'm a stay-home mom due to some circumstances though. So I don't know if I'll get an advice with regard to the boosting.
Yep, so as you said, you work online, so I mean, for me, it would kind of make sense for you to do boosts if your audience is online and you want to reach your audience. I know with Facebook boosts, you are allowed to actually pick the reach you want depending on the price. So they tell you the price ahead of time. You know how much you're spending for however much you're reaching out. But yeah, if your audience is online, as you say, if you're advertising your products through Facebook, then for me, it sounds like a pretty good idea for you to then think about boosting to kind of get your account out there if you're struggling with that reach.
Great.
Thank you, Blessing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Blessing's account. If you are watching now, if you can put what's the word? Go follow her at Beauty with Blessing. It's recently been reactivated because since she went to school, she had to put that on the back burner, but it's recently been reactivated so that she can continue with what she's doing. So where is that one? I'm just putting that in a minute. Yeah. Any other question, please? Anyone? Does anybody have any question regarding what Blessing has just taught us? I cannot see any question. That's good. Thank you, Blessing, for a job well done. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so without any further questions, I just want to say thank you once again to everyone that is here. Oh, okay, there's a hand up there, Blessing. iPad. There's no name on it. Can you ask the question, please? The person raising the hand, the iPad lady.
Yes, hello. Thank you for a great session. The question is to do with the link you sent for Maureen Chiana.
Yeah.
I've tried it and it's saying the URL is not valid. So I don't know if it's the same on your end.
Okay, I think I've sent another one again because what I sent was from my email, and because the link was buried, that's why it didn't work. So when I noticed it, I sent, so I'm just gonna send it again, yeah. Because that link actually, when I clicked it, it went straight to her calendar.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I tried the
This
second
one,
one. I don't know, maybe it's my end.
yeah,
'Cause
I've just clicked it and it's on, and her calendar is on with her pretty face.
it's probably just my end then.
Yeah, let me just share for you to see. So if not, you can go onto her website. So that's the calendar. If not, I will put the website on, and then so that you can go on her website or send her an email. Just give me a sec. So the
Yeah, I'll put the email in the
Mindsight
chat.
Academy. I'll just put that on the link so that when you click it, it goes to her website, and you'll be able to book an appointment or find her that.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It has been an interesting and insightful evening. So we are done for today, and I'm excited for tomorrow. So would you like to know what is going to happen tomorrow? Because tomorrow I have Elizabeth Olujumi. Elizabeth is another lady who is going to talk about the mindset and how you can dig your fears and pursue whatever it is that you want, especially business. So she inspired Christian women to use their God-given talent to start businesses. She runs a business which she runs her coaching business, but she's also partnering with her husband, and they run a book coaching business. She's going to be here tomorrow to share all about that. Pastor Catherine is going to be speaking as well. She is going to be talking about how to empower yourself through looking after your body. Essentially, we need to think about our health more in terms of what we eat, in terms of how we move, in terms of how we think. She is a neuro-linguistic practitioner, and it's mind-blowing how these sciences work. She's going to be sharing that. I cannot wait for tomorrow. So if you have enjoyed Maureen's presentation, can you just put yes in the chat for me, please? Let's see how many people actually did enjoy this presentation, and then we can wrap up. I'm still waiting. Okay. Yes. Okay. Are people? Okay, let's see. Yeah, so we need, and then also blessing. So blessing, thank you so much for sharing with us. Yes. I'm grateful for that. Coming back to Maureen. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you. You have really opened my mind. Even though I have read these books, I have done, habits books, mindset books, whatever. I've been doing all those things, but your perspective has actually put another spin on how we should learn regarding the brain and connecting that with the mind. It has been really, really insightful. Me personally, I know the audience have enjoyed it, but personally, I think it's been amazing, incredible. Chat GTP, yes, I have doubled a little bit in Chat GTP, but Blessing is rocking it. She does that every blessed day of her life with Chat GPT. I want us to start using it because, as she has just shown us, the easiest way for us to generate content, because the struggle that most of us have is how we can even think about the content to post. But if we have a way of getting the content to come out quickly, that is really, that would help us a lot in terms of our content creation. And influencers, I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that we can use influencers to bump our business, and that she has explained. If you want any more information, you can contact Blessing. DM her on Instagram, or contact me and I'll contact her for you. That's about it. I shall see you all tomorrow, unless anybody has any question. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pastor Catherine, for joining us. Thank you again, Delepo, for being here all through. Thank you, lady with iPad. Unfortunately, I don't know your name. MJ, really appreciate you so much. Rosamond, thank you. Freedom for Life. She's gonna be speaking. That's Grace is gonna be speaking on Friday. Funke, thank you. Magdalena's, thank you so much. And Mr. Richard Winnie, thank you. Achiba Ata, thank you. Joyce, hey Joyce, today I didn't hear you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. Have a good night, and I shall see you same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. Please put your alarm on for tomorrow and Friday. This time is only 3 days, and yeah, it's gonna be great. I hope to see you tomorrow. Take care. God bless. Pastor Obie was here. I haven't seen her. Maybe she's dropped out. Thank you, Pastor Obie. God bless you all. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye-bye. Take care. Where's my Afro music now?